Good evening and welcome to NewsTalk New England. I'm Tiffany Williams here with Command Sergeant Major Sergeant Brennan from the United States Army. Tell me a little bit about yourself. You grew up in the central Massachusetts area. Tell me a little about your return back to central Mass.
So Tiffany, thank you first of all for doing this with me. I appreciate this opportunity to talk a little bit about my experience. So it's been a little while since I've been home, really about 2 years, and getting this opportunity to come back and kind of reconnect with the community that I came from. I graduated high school out in Sutton, so not very far from here. It's been incredible, and to see Worcester today, in comparison to what I remember probably 20 plus years ago, is incredible. All the new buildings, and to see the Blue Sox and the park out there and everything else, it's been awesome.
Nice. And you're going to be throwing out the first pitch.
Yeah, so that's what I hear. I think we'll find out if the weather cooperates in some way, but yes.
Nice. And you're also going to be doing the fourth end recognition, I heard too.
Yeah, so I think they're at some point in time going to have me stand on the dugout, and I
Yeah.
think it's with the recruiters too. I hope it's not alone, but yeah, to do some sort of recognition and thanking for the service.
It's always good to see the Woo Sox and how they recognize military in our community and stuff. We did Military Appreciation Day last year, and it was pretty good. Um, Tell me a bit about your service and where you're currently stationed.
Yeah, so I'll tell you first of all, I didn't plan on doing this for as long as I've done it. Come September, will be 28 years active duty. I had seen this opportunity as something that was going to be a stepping stone. I ultimately wanted to be a Massachusetts State Trooper, and that went off course a little bit because life throws things at you. And I met my wife in Germany. We ended up getting married and having some children. So I continued to do this, and I became addicted to what I'm doing, and never could have envisioned having the opportunities I've had. Right now I'm assigned to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, in the Maneuver Support Center of Excellence as the Engineers School and Regimental Command Sergeant Major, overseeing really the training and development of all engineers across both the active component, the National Guard, and the Reserve. So giving back to the entity that gave so much to me.
Mm. What were your thoughts when you were named the new Command Sergeant Major for the United States Army Engineer School?
Yeah, so the process that you go through to even have the opportunity to do that, it's a competitive thing. So you're interviewed by a general officer. For me, it was the engineer school commandant, and I'd already interviewed with a couple other general officers before that point in time, and I wasn't went into it as prepared as I could be, but I did not expect to be the individual selected out of the other candidates that were there. But absolutely grateful that general had the trust and confidence in me to be the person to fill that position.
It's nice. It's a lot of trust, huh?
Yeah, it is. It's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of people.
Now that you are in this new position, what do you believe is your primary role as Command Sergeant Major of the United States Army Engineer School?
Yeah, so my primary role, I'm the advisor to the commandant of the engineer school, which has the responsibility of representing, all engineer equities, which touch about 89,800 engineer soldiers across the force. And when I say material and non-material, so we're really focused on an acronym. It's called .mil-PF, but it's really the doctrine, the organization, the training, the material, the leadership and development, the personnel, and the facilities as it relates to engineers, making sure that what our people have now and into the future allows them to support the rest of the Army forces the way that we need to.
I was reading your bio, um, and you have a pretty storied career. Um, what's been your proudest moment in the Army and why?
So that's a tough question because I think based off of how you come up through the ranks as an enlisted service member, once you become a non-commissioned officer, at the rank of sergeant, nothing's about you any longer. It's really about the people that you lead and you ultimately serve. So I would say My initial answer would be the accomplishments of those around you, the collective group accomplishments, and maybe even some of those folks their individual accomplishments. But probably for me, I never saw this being a career when I first started, and I never saw myself having the opportunity to be a command sergeant major. So I would say proudest moment would be selection for the sergeant major's course out at Fort Bliss, Texas, which has now put me on this 7-year path of opportunity, leading at the battalion, the brigade, and now the engineer school. So
Tell me, how was that going to the school and the training?
yeah, so it's a bit different than I have no experience on the training side of the Army, what they call training and doctrine command. I never worked on that side of things. It was predominantly on the operational force side of things, so the forces command side, probably the recipient of the product that comes out of what it is we do there at Fort Leonard Wood.
What do you see as your biggest challenge as command sergeant major?
So I would say the biggest challenge is you're used to being around soldiers on a daily basis, having that day-to-day interaction, and being able to see the fruits of your labor through them with their accomplishments. And today, where I'm working, I don't necessarily get to see that on a daily basis. I'm for lack of better words, farther removed away from the soldier at the lowest level. So, that's probably the hardest part. So seek every opportunity to kind of be around them and, see what it is they're doing today, and to kind of reinforce the decisions that we're making on our side of things. Is it what they need? Is it truly taking care of them?
You have a deep and diverse background in the Army. Tell me about your assignments in the Army, and what advice do you have to young combat engineers who aspire to reach your level of leadership?
Yeah, so I would say I do have a diversified background. I've gotten to serve in every type of unit that an engineer can serve in, both what we call infantry brigade combat teams, light and airborne, mechanized formations, and even a striker brigade combat team, and the different types of engineer formations, whether it's a brigade engineer battalion or an echelons above brigade. I would tell any young soldier today how to be successful, in my own opinion, is, one, don't ever let anybody tell you can't do it. Work hard, do your absolute best, and when put in charge and responsible for things, take charge and take care of the people that you're responsible for, and take every opportunity the Army is going to give you. I mean, I had no college education before I came into the Army. I didn't think that was something I could accomplish, and here I sit, with a degree and some other things, and the Army gave that to me, that opportunity, and I would just tell any other soldier, seek all those opportunities that the Army is going to give you, and do it all with the best attitude, right? I mean,
Exactly.
positive attitude can carry you a long ways.
For our viewers who may not know what a combat engineer is, what is the role of a combat engineer?
Yeah, so there's when you look at engineers in general, there are a whole lot of different types of engineers within our regiment. 18 different military occupational specialties, and the combat engineer is just one of those 18. The role is really defined in probably 3 words. It's always been mobility, counter mobility, and survivability. We are the ones who enable others to accomplish what it is they need to accomplish. So we're never the priority or the main effort of things, but we are the ones who are the supporting effort who makes it happen for others. So, when you talk mobility, we can clear the way for others to get there. So if there's obstacles out there, whatever those obstacles may be, we're the ones who can help the maneuver forces and others get to where they need to get to. And when you talk about counter mobility, well, that's simply, presenting obstacles that don't allow our our potential adversaries to do the things that they want to do, kind of shape the terrain in some way for our forces. And then survivability, I think, is just simply defined by, that word itself. Not only do we have folks that can design things for structures, force protection, but we also have the capabilities to build those things within our formations, whether it's vertically, so constructing a building, or horizontally, where we can shape the terrain with some sort of assets that we have.
Nice. What advice would you give junior soldiers about their personal responsibility to maintain their individual readiness, as well as working with their peers to advance team and unit readiness?
Can you, yeah, that's all again, I'm sorry.
What advice would you give junior soldiers about their personal responsibility to maintain their individual readiness, as well as working with their peers to advance team and unit readiness?
Yeah, so, every soldier has a responsibility to maintain themselves, and probably the easiest one to talk about is just physical readiness, and demonstrating that discipline to do those things that maybe you don't want to do at the times that you don't want to do them. Getting out and running and living a healthy lifestyle, in the way that you both eat, live, and even the mental and spiritual aspects of things. So I think it's wellness in general, improves readiness in some way. And if you're not taking care of one piece of that, then there might be another part that you just don't, it doesn't get the results that you're looking for. And as you talk about it for a collective group and the individual, we're only as strong as the weakest link, and ultimately if I'm back in a team or a squad, I'm going to work hard, and this is what every soldier should do to help those around me be as successful as I've been, So if my strength is physical readiness and I'm that person that can run the fastest and the greatest distance, well, that's great for me, but what are those around me able to do? So what can I do to help them out? Whether that means dedicating some of my own personal time to help them be successful. At the end of the day, if one is successful, that's great, but when we can do it as a collective group. So I think it's just that cohesive team and environment, and us taking care of each other. So that my recommendation to a soldier would be, take care of yourself, but simultaneously, dedicate effort to your teammates and help them be successful.
Nice. So we are here, for those who don't know, we are here at the Army Recruiting Station in Worcester, Massachusetts. And you've been going around for the past couple of days with some of the recruiters here from the station. So let me ask you this, we'll end on this one. What words of wisdom would you give to someone who walked into this office today and wanted to join the Army?
Yeah, so I know my story that brought me to the point where I went to see a recruiter, and now that I'm a little bit more experienced in life and have been doing this for a while, and kind of the message that I shared as I got around talking with students and stuff is, figure out what your goals are. Someone told me maybe a little bit too late into the game that it's not really a goal unless you write it down and you look at it once in a while. You may not achieve it. So first of all, figure out what it is you want to do or what you want out of life. Establish your goals, write those things down, periodically look at them to make sure you're keeping yourself on azimuth. You're heading in the direction that you want to. But if you come in and you talk to an Army recruiter, express to them what your desires are. There's a lot of opportunities out there. There's about 150 different types of jobs in the Army that exist. Simply taking a test and scoring, whatever the necessary score is for some of those jobs, that opens doors for folks. And just knowing, that the Army provides you a lot of opportunities. I'm blessed to have seen, as well as my family, because they've experienced all this with me. I've been married for 25 years and have three children. They've got to see the world with me. My children have lived 12 to 13 years of their life overseas between Germany and Italy, and seen multiple locations in the United States. So, that's one benefit of it all. And, thinking about education, right? There's a lot of educational opportunities. The Army will help you accomplish those if you want it, as well as credentialing opportunities, things that are make you very marketable out there in the private sector, and just lay that out to a recruiter, right? And let the recruiter do what it is they do best, and help you figure out what that opportunity is for you out there, whether you choose to do it for a couple of years or it turns out to be a career for you. Just take advantage of whatever's given to you.
So you've been going on. There's a corporal that's been traveling with you.
Yes, yeah.
And their name is?
So Corporal McCaffrey, first name's Mackenzie. She's from the state of Ohio. She's 27 years of age. She's not the same career specialty that I am in the Army. I'm a combat engineer. She is a signal support specialist. She has about 3 years of service in, but I brought her along because she has an interesting story. She came from an environment where maybe she had to work a little bit harder because she didn't have the standard family environment around her. Didn't see herself as a confident human being, and probably didn't see herself, being able to accomplish some of the things that she has today. And when you look at her and you get the opportunity to talk with her, and that's why I brought her with me, for her to kind of tell her story to others. She's come in, she's gained a ton of confidence, able to talk with the students and others in the same way that I have, and she's got credibility. She's accomplished her first goal, which was to get an associate's degree. She's working on her bachelor's degree, and she chose a job in the Army that is what she desires to do after service. So she's got some credentials and other things that will help her whenever she determines that she's complete with her service obligation. But yeah, she's been great to have around, and have her engaging with folks a little bit closer to age, with those our youth out there than I am. So maybe able to make a connection and help something resonate with them a little bit.
So I want to thank you for coming on today, and I'm going to let you, I know you're a busy guy, so I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to bring the corporal in so the corporal can tell her story to the people that are out there and let them know what they need to know as well.
When I go to Stop and Shop, I can cross off everything that's on my list. Because this is my one-stop shop, I can get everything in one place and get a little bit more of my life back.
Corporal McCaffrey, tell me about your story. Command Sergeant, maybe we're just talking about it, but tell me from your...
So I grew up with a big family. I have a lot of siblings. My parents, pretty much told us to work. Nobody encouraged us to go to college. Really talked about those sorts of things. We just knew that we needed a job and to support ourselves. So I did that my senior year of high school. I worked a job and got offered pretty early before I graduated, a promotion. So that's where I thought my head was at, and I was like, I'm just going to keep working here. As the years went by, I promoted up, and I ended up being a general manager of a corporate-owned pizza chain where I'm from at 21, 22 years old. And then at 23, I realized it was too many hours, and I couldn't go to college and get a degree, which was something that I wanted. So I met with a recruiter and was pretty much sold on, being able to afford it, in a way that the military would give me tuition assistance and a GI Bill afterwards, or to use while I was in. And since then, completed an associate's degree, moving on with a bachelor's degree, getting certificates in the IT field, which is where my job is at. So it's been a good opportunity and experience.
You're from Ohio?
I'm from Ohio, yes.
You're traveling these past couple of days in central Massachusetts. What's been your message to all these students that you've been seeing?
Mostly I tell them not to be discouraged, and if they're not aware of what's out there, to seek information and maybe not listen to, one person's side of the story, and, hear the other sides of the story, because there is good in the military and that service that you give to others.
Somebody comes in here to the recruiting office to see Staff Sergeant Abdul Razak or Staff Sergeant Ortega. What message do you have to that person?
I would mostly say not to be discouraged. I didn't, like you said, I didn't have the confidence. I didn't think that I would ever mentally be able to be away from my family or physically be able to complete basic training and keep up with the other soldiers. And physically, I've gotten myself there over the years, and I'm confident. I CrossFit competed in a competition this past weekend, and we were surprised with the results. And
How'd you do?
we got 6th place out of 15 teams.
Nice.
Which, it's not terrible. It was my first ever sort of thing like that. So I don't think that I would have gained that without being in the military and some of the things that I've experienced and put myself out in front of.
There you have it, folks. Corporal McCaffrey, thank you very much for coming on today as well.
thank you.
You know it was unexpected to bring you on, but we kind of do that at NewsTalk New England when we do unexpected things. But I wanted to highlight your story and let people know, I want to thank Staff Sergeant Abdul Razak, who has been doing the camera for us today. So big acknowledgement to her. With that said, remember, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be yourself. And until next time, I'm Tiffany Williams for NewsTalk New England.
When I go to Stop and Shop, I can cross off everything that's on my list. Because this is my one-stop shop, I can get everything in one place and get a little bit more of my life back.
Someone who has served in the Army for 27 years. From Sutton, Command Sergeant Major John T. Brennan. Okay, Command Sergeant Major, let's see your pull apart pitch. Thank you, sir. Great job. Thank you.
Yeah, I won't yet. I found something in my hand. You guys might have to leave. Leaving it off. You guys go in the middle. Which one you're at? Oh, that'll work. You came on this trip to the garden.
Striker, the official Smart Robotics joint replacement partner of minor league baseball, will be donating $1 to Canines for Warriors.
And then I got yours.
Largest provider of services to military veterans. Learn more at MakoSmartRobotics.com.
So how are the hot dogs? Good? Sergeant Brennan, how are the hot dogs?
Oh, it's great. As good as it was 20 plus years ago.
Did what he's done all year long. Took it out of here. Worcester leading by 1, 2. Swing and a miss.
What do you think?